Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. Now, before we start, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to checking this out. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, it helps a lot, and again, thank you. Have an incredible day or evening, depending where you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. So, welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. For today, we have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the super awesome Sonya. Sonya, how are you today?
I'm doing so good, Dan. Thank you for having me here. This is
Absolutely. I
great.
mean, what better way to have an epic day than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
That's how I feel about you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Now, for those who don't know, who is the incredible, amazing, badass, super Sonya, please tell us who you are.
Yeah, hi, my name's Sonya Davis. I am an actor, and Dan's given me all these accolades of badassness, which I love and appreciate. Um, but yeah, I'm an actor, I'm a coach, I'm an improviser, um, and I love this art, and I'm happy to be here talking about it.
There you go. I love it. Incredible. I mean, that's badass. I mean, let's face it. Come on. Now,
Uh,
starting with the whole interview now, let's go back in time and tell me where this passion for acting started.
It honestly started when I was little. I that's a when I think back and try and pinpoint it, it's kind of hard to do. We start out as kids playing pretend, and
Yeah.
it's almost like I just never grew out of wanting to do that. I remember there was a moment where my brothers were like, "Oh, we're not going to play pretend. We're not playing pretend anymore." And I was like, "No, no, no, it's not pretend. It's acting." Okay?
Yeah.
So I've loved it for a long time, a really long time.
There you go. Incredible. And so time passed, you started to working on your acting career now. But tell me, what were some of the challenges that you discovered when you were recently making those first steps on your acting career?
Yeah, so I came from a really small town and there wasn't a lot of opportunity around, and anything that there was I just didn't know about. And so that was probably the most difficult early early challenge, is just not knowing a path, not having any mentor out there to like kind of guide me and help me and show me options and what was possible. Because also that's the other thing a mentor does, is just shows you that it's possible to do. Where I'm from, I feel like most people it's one of those far flung dreams. It's like, yeah,
Mm.
that's nice, you want to be an astronaut, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like on that level, which of course I think you can be an astronaut. I think people can do anything. So it definitely took a lot of unsure faith, I
Mhm.
guess, of could continue doing this all throughout the path. And as a coach, I've started a program called Presence Academy, specifically talking about mentorship and like or mentoring people,
Mhm. Mhm.
because because I didn't have. So I kind of like took all the things I wish I had when I was younger and starting off earlier, and put it into a program. So that I'm really excited about doing too. That's
Wow.
kind of where my acting career sort of led me to at this moment.
That's that's awesome. And also it is, I mean, it is super important, right? That whenever you are starting something new, if you can find some kind of guide or some kind of coaching behind it, so you will know exactly like where to go, like where not to, things like that. I mean, of course that and it happens to all of us, right? That whenever we're starting something new, we tend to do mistakes, let's say, but I do think that those mistakes are kind of the whole learning experience in order to start to develop either tough skin and also to kind of start to understand how this whole thing might work. You know what I mean?
100% for sure. And I'm really happy. Like, my path has been amazing and it's led me where I needed to be. I just know, looking back, like if talking to younger actors and things, I know that I could have been I just didn't need certain things that I did, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's but you're absolutely right. Like, all any mistakes that have been made, or things that I might have done differently looking back, you know, they are what they are, and I have had like great learning experiences from them, and I think I've grown as a person, and I think I'm kind of it's meant to be, whatever happens is meant to happen that way kind of person.
Mm.
And there was obviously things that I need to learn, and that was good for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need the missteps every now and then. You need them. It's inevitable. Which is funny because when you are recently starting out, you will see those mistakes are as, oh, this is the end of it, I can't do this anymore, like things like that. But then, as I
Yeah.
said, like later on, when you start to develop like a little more, yeah, like more tough skin, but also you start to be like more mature, you're like, okay, it's part of the ride, which is fine.
Yeah, totally. And also, if I hadn't done all those things, those mistakes and such, I wouldn't be at the place where I am now starting this business to help others. So
There you go.
that's the really the best part about mistakes, right? Is you can pass on the knowledge you've learned.
Absolutely, absolutely. And focusing a little bit more on your acting career, tell me how you prepare a character. Now we understand, of course, that depends on the role, but what is your initial approach before, diving into this whole process?
Yeah, thank you. I love this question because it can be so varied, and I'm sure you've heard a million different answers. But when I was coaching, I realized I needed to distill it for people. So what
Mm,
I do is I have a little two list method.
okay.
Basically, it's my method to figure out the actor's work, and it's incredibly simple. It's I have one list of all the things that the character is similar to me for, and then the other list is all the things that the character and I feel is different than me.
Mm,
So one list, everything I feel like is the same. Like, maybe she's a daughter, maybe she likes mint chocolate chip ice cream, maybe who knows, whatever it is, all the things that are similar to
yeah.
me, and then take all the things that are not. Like maybe she is an astronaut, maybe she's a um struggling with addiction of some kind. Like I take all these things. I guess I might be on the other one because I'm addicted to sugar. But I take all those things, and that's how I pretty much figure out what my actor's work is, because all those things on the what I feel are dissimilar to me.
Yeah.
That's the work. So if she's British, I got to learn an accent. So it can be something really practical like that, but it can be a little deeper. Like if she is struggling with something that I've never struggled with, well, there's a
Yeah.
lot more research to be done in that part, right? Whereas all the other stuff, it's very accessible to me. It's already there. Um, so yeah, that's my like super simple, easy way to figure out what is my actor's work in the first place.
Mm,
Because I used to kind of just, you know, of course, you memorize your lines, you do all that, character research and stuff, but it just felt sort of in the dark, and I didn't
yeah.
really know what I needed to work on most, you know?
Yeah. 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 And it's, it's funny that even till this day, some people might think that acting is just learning your lines and you're good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the situation, of course, because some have done that, right? Like some don't even learn their lines very well. They're just like
Yeah.
cramming it right 2 seconds before. And if you're bringing your self to it, and with all the like truth that you can and presence that you can, that can totally work. It's just for me, I want to make sure I'm doing justice to whatever uh,
Absolutely.
whoever I'm playing, right?
Absolutely. And now that you mentioned that that whenever you need a character that needs an accent, how you work with those? Like how long it usually takes for you to kind of master an accent?
I think I've gotten lucky, and the ones that I've done are things that I was already okay at. Um, and I have a pretty decent ear for accents. Not
Okay.
all of them. The hardest one I ever had to do was Australian, and I really struggle with that still. I
Yeah.
don't know how I got that job. But yeah, that's definitely something that takes more time. So I don't even know if I could tell you, because you're always working with whatever time you have, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you get as best as good as you can in the time that you have. But I've definitely done some accent training too, just in Irish and British and
Yeah.
things so I could be a little bit more ready to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And I find it so awesome that whenever we will see an actor play like a different accent. Like in this show Vikings, there was this actor that I just keep forgetting his name. That he was playing this king, this Norwegian king, but it's an American one. But like he tried like the accent and everything, and look, and you believe it. You were like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like the fact that you are able to transform like the real you into play this this character in this era, in this with this costumes, the beliefs and everything, and also with the whole language itself to kind of expressions. As I said, it's fascinating the whole process that an actor will take in order to play the character, regardless that if it is a king or an astronaut, superhero, you name it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really it's a career of fun.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely, absolutely.
That's how I view it anyways. It's like that's yeah, anyways. I'm jumping ahead on some
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah. But it's true. I mean, who wouldn't love to play a superhero one day, you know, or an astronaut, or I mean, you get the chance to be everything from I don't know, from cop to doctor to lawyer to president to you know, for everything. I mean, there are no boundaries. To alien too, you know, from another
An
planet.
alien, yeah, totally.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. That's incredible.
There's a lot of people in the acting world are like, "Oh, if you can think of anything you wanna be other than an actor, you should probably do it because acting's such a hard career and stuff," right?
Yeah.
There's that, like, saying, but I've always kind of said the opposite. I'm like opposite because I just feel like, no, if you I can think of a million things I wanna be, and that's why I wanna be an actor because, do I really wanna be a doctor? Probably not when it comes down to brass tacks, but do I wanna play one? Yeah, I'll play
Sounds
one.
fun. Yeah, yeah. You know, I once interviewed this actress that she focused on creature work, and she mainly
Ooh.
does acting, but she plays the monster in horror films, which is, and she told me
Woohoo.
that that is super fun whenever she will get like full costume on it, you know, full demonic monster and everything. And before shooting the scene, you will see that part of the crew sometimes will get scared or be like what the hell, whenever they see the monster just drinking Starbucks and seeing the phone. You know what I mean? So that's pretty funny.
Those are my favorites, actually. Yeah, I have a friend who I've done a couple horror films with him, and it's like I have a recent one was just I wasn't the creature, but I'm like hanging out with her, and she's got her
Yeah, yeah, which is pretty fun. So
gun.
that's awesome. And
I did one creature work thing actually, and that was really cool, and it totally was a different process to work with because it was so physical.
yeah,
Yeah, that the
that's
yeah,
awesome.
the monster.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really cool whenever whenever they will play like this demonic stuff, you know, and once you see, you know, like the product itself, you believe it. You know, you're like, and I find awesome whenever you saw the film or the show, you know, and then you're back at home and then you start to think about it, you know, like you get like thoughts like, what if the monster just came or things like that, you know what I mean? Which is,
Yeah,
I once saw an interview, I think was with Tim Curry. He played it, right? But like the old ones.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So in one of his interviews, he said like someone asked him like how does it feel that you, I think it was something that a whole generation got scared because of his clown of it, and I think that his answer was like yes, you know, like he actually was happy about it that I made it happen. You know, this whole generation is got scared back then because of this clown. So
Right, he did his job. He did yeah.
yeah, so it's amazing, fascinating. Now, has it ever happened to you that that there was this character that you prepare it, everything was good to go, you did it, but you stick with that character for a while.
Ooh. Uh, yeah. Yeah. So, I did a romantic comedy,
Okay.
and, I before the movie, I knew I had to sort of, like, be in love, right, with this person that I was shooting with, and I would be like, Nick is in love with Mary. My character was Mary. Mary's in love with Nick. Like I am, I am Mary, and that person's
Yeah.
Nick. Okay, right. So, anyways, and he was lovely. He's an amazing actor, and it was so much fun to work with him. And he's still my friend today. Um, but yeah, it was like kind of hard to let that role go. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah.
it was. We were both pretty sad by the end of it. You
and
know.
and like how you manage the whole transition. I mean, once the thing, yeah, like once the project is done, what is your usual transition for put that character in the box, let's say, and return to be the real you?
I've actually only recently kind of discovered the ways to make that happen really seamlessly. I'm pretty good. I'm not very method, I can go in and out pretty seamlessly. I'm not hanging out in my character too much at lunch or anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but or making my partner call me Mrs. Lincoln or anything like
yeah, of course.
like some, right? Um, but I have discovered recently, and this is just good for any people too, just to make my own we call it affirmative subconscious programming, but basically just remind myself of who I am. Like make a tape of saying who I am. Like
Mm,
I'm who I want to be too, right? So kind of a little metaphysical, but like
yeah.
I'm uh I love to move. I love this. This is who I am, and just kind of like getting out of that other character. And I think that the cool thing about we call it ASP, but the affirmative subconscious programming is like, okay, we can go a little bit deeper into our characters because we know we have this anchor to come back to.
Mhm. Mhm.
I say we because my partner and I came up with that idea together,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, that's like a little trick, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's incredible. Wow. Now, moving on here. What has been some of the worst dishes you ever had?
Well, before I did a lot of yoga, I had one where it was just, yeah, it was a very audition. I went in there and I pretended to know how to do yoga, right? And it's like, I was like, how hard can it be, right? You're standing there, you're stretching. It's like, okay, it's fine, I got
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah.
But they asked me to do a sun salutation, and I was like, I have no idea what a sun salutation is.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, so I do now, but I didn't then at all, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's
absolutely, absolutely.
simple. Yeah, but I basically just, did this random set of movements that was completely, like, me making it up in the moment, and, like, it was really embarrassing because I knew I was doing it wrong,
Yeah.
and, I think that there was if I remember right, there was actually another person behind me. We were, like, facing opposite, but we were
Mhm.
both doing sun salutations, and whatever I was doing was, like, completely not matching whatever she was doing. So that was pretty embarrassing. I also had one where I I this was a tape, fortunately, but it was still kind of ridiculous. I was auditioning for a film about like a motorcycle gang. So ride. I had to be know how
Yeah.
to ride. And I loved the film, it sounded so fun. They liked me, they were like, "You seem really great, can you ride a motorcycle?" I was like, "Well, here's the thing, not really, not yet." But I was like, "But give me a week." So, crazy me was like, "I can learn how to ride a motorcycle in a week, no problem, like, I'll make it happen." And so I, like at the time, I was living down in LA, and I was called up a friend, my cousin, and I was
Mhm.
like the only person I knew who had a motorcycle, and I was like, "Can I possibly, like, try and practice on your bike? Like, I don't know." Anyway, so didn't went to practice. I practiced all day. I got not very far at all. The tape I sent
Mhm.
in was literally me just, like, getting on the bike, riding for about, I don't even know, probably like 10 feet, and then getting off and, like, barely holding it because it's way heavy.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was my and I sent it in because I was like, "Look, this is what I can do." Not good enough.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
Absolutely. And like, tell me how you managed to deal with the second thought, after, you did audition, like how you managed to not let those voices saying you could have done this, why you did this, you should have said this, like all of those type of little voices in your head, how you managed to just yeah, like silent them and continue moving forward with your day, because otherwise if you listen to them, once you realize it's been already 2 3 hours, you haven't done anything else in your day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Well, depending on how much you want it, the
Yeah.
voices can be louder or softer. But for me, most of the time I've gotten pretty good at just letting it go immediately. Like, I take it as the time the time for all that is before, and then after I get to go in and do it, like, I treat that like the job, really, and, like, I'm
Yeah.
going in, pretend essentially like it's like my already mine, and I go in there and do the best that I can. Um, and yeah, like you said, it's a waste of your day if you're sitting there obsessing over it. I also know that a lot of casting has nothing to do with me.
Mm,
It's going to have something to do with my look or the idea that they have that I'm just not matching, and there's
yeah.
not even anything I can do, even if I go do my best work,
Mm,
you
mm,
know. And then, of course, you never lose, you only learn. And so if I go in there and something just goes terribly awry and I feel like I did a horrible job, it's like, okay, well, what can I learn from that moving forward? Because I'm not going to stop acting because of that.
there you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become an actor. Now, based on what you know, what do you think it's important for me to know before jumping in?
Well, let's see here. A few things. I
Mm,
should just this was well, number one, like I said earlier, mentor. Try and find somebody, even if it's somebody you don't know yet. Like, just find somebody who can kind of guide you. Um, Business coaching,
mm,
also. If I had really, if I had done what I, looking back, wished I would have done, I would have done a lot more business coaching because as an actor, you are your own business.
totally.
So, as unglamorous as that is, that's like 100% part of it.
Mm,
Uh, and also, I would say improv. A lot of actors are terrified of improv, like really terrified, and I was one
yeah.
of them for a while. I very much shied away from it. It's like, give me a script, I'm happy. I feel confident I can like do something with that. Take away my script, I'm lost, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, right? And it's just not that scary. It's not as scary as it seems.
Mm,
And and it's so valuable as an actor.
there you go.
And the
I'll
funny
take.
thing is I was always doing it. I was always like riffing with friends and, just pretending to be in these crazy scenes. But when it came down to like labeling it like here, now I'm doing improv, I was like,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can understand. I mean, we all sometimes will do things like that, that we think that we're not good for something, but turns out we actually are, but we just don't haven't like really put attention to it.
Yeah. And people see you differently than you kind of like see yourself and feel it yourself sometimes
Totally.
too. The other thing I would add to the add is just mindset work in general. Like this is
Mm,
it's a business where you do have to deal with rejection, and if you are going to be obsessing over not getting it, or that's some mindset work. And I've discovered breath work later in life too. I just got certified as a breath coach actually, and I'm really psyched about it. But breath is everything, especially when
mm-hmm.
it comes to your character. Most often when I see acting that I'm like meh about, it's because they're not breathing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and people, I mean, obviously that's what we're doing here, and as living beings we're breathing.
absolutely. Yes, yes. I mean, learning how to breathe, it may sound silly, but once you realize and you start to actually learn how, the benefits are amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, not to mention it helps with nerves.
Yeah.
Most people, I never had like a lot of help as far as with nerves. It was always kind of like fake it till you make it.
Mm,
And there's actually specific techniques you can do that will instantly put your body in a restful state and
yeah.
help with those nerves. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's say, one day for your birthday, you get a time machine. But here's the catch. You can only travel once and to meet the 13-year-old version of yourself. So what would you say to that little you?
Oh man. Keep going. Know that it's possible. That's probably the biggest thing. I think I was so in the dark. I wanted it. I just It was one of those careers that was a dream,
Yeah.
and I would only be able to do it if I got really lucky. I kind of considered myself really lucky, and I have forever, and I still do. But um, there's room for everybody in this industry. Actually, there's people of all types needed to tell stories. Like there's always stories being made, projected to grow.
Mm,
It's grown like 8% or something like that in the last couple years. And so, anyways, there's just like room for actors, and it's not
mm,
one of those far flung ideas. So that's like definitely one of them. And also, I would say to her, even though I had a great experience, you don't have to go to college. That's what I'd say, which is a
there
little
you go.
dicey one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but
There
you
you go.
don't. You don't. I have a lot of actor friends who just jumped right in, and that was like a better path for them. And I probably could have started earlier if I had done that, which would have been cool. But like again, we do what we do, and I did love college. I learned a lot, and I'm grateful I went.
Mm,
But probably didn't actually need it to start acting. Well, I know
yeah,
I didn't.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I can. Yeah, Yeah, it's true. I mean that is a interesting topic because I'm also the type of person who believes that depending on what you want to do, perhaps college is not that necessary, this
Yeah,
for you to waste this, I mean, for you to spend this huge amount of money on something that perhaps you could do it the other way, things like that, you know?
Yeah,
I can understand that.
absolutely. I think I know I went because I didn't fully believe in myself or the career. I didn't
Yeah,
believe 100% that I could do it. But of course, the first day of college, what do? I get there and I audition for a play and I get
absolutely.
in. And then it's like, okay, game
Yeah.
on from there. I met a bunch of theater majors, you know. And again, like I said, I learned a lot. I loved college. I love my college experience and I loved my acting classes in college. But like you're saying, I could have probably just funneled the time and the money into acting classes somewhere else
Yeah.
and jumped more into my career.
Yeah. At the end, that what I ended up discovering when I went to college is that college works more for you to get connections, for you to meet people, for you to starting out, create like your own connections here or there because you might never know in the future. So, but
This is
yeah, I mean,
true.
at the end, yeah, it depends. It depends what you want to do, and once you realize what you want to do, perhaps you should consider it if it is 100% necessary for you to go there, or as you mentioned, perhaps you could go, taking acting classes different here and there, prepare, and it will be kind of a little more cheap at the same time. So
Yeah, yeah. If it wasn't for my scholarship, I don't want to say I would have dropped out for sure, but there's a chance I would have.
yeah, I mean, I ended
Just
up.
once I
Uh-huh.
Oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. Please, you were saying.
I was just once I really realized like no, this is actually what I want to do. This
Yeah,
is this is it. I know this is it. But
yeah,
even college didn't really prepare me, didn't really help me into the business aspect, the career world. That's why I say like business coaching, because I just had no idea what I was doing after college. I had
yeah.
one class that was kind of like, these are some things that you could do with your theater degree, but mostly it was just sort of like, here, now you have a theater degree. Yay for you. Have fun.
Yeah, that's another thing here that they should really prepare you for in order to sell yourself. You know what I mean? Like they
hmm
should also teach you skills for you to once you're done or once you're out in the world, you can know how to take it. Because I mean I've seen it with friends of mine or even classmates from me, that back then in college, yeah, finish and everything, it's fine. You who the party and everything, you will conquer the world. All of that. But then once years pass, and then you're like, hey, what happened to this guy? Oh, he's working in something totally different that in the thing that he prepared. And I'm like, why? And I think that will come up to this what I'm saying, which is that they should teach you also how to sell yourself, how you prepare, what kind of things you should really expect, and not this fantasy that sometimes they will do just to kind of, promise you that the world is gonna be yours, but then once you discover that it's not like that, then you will have this huge generation of people who is dealing with anxiety, depression, I mean, and so on, so on, so on, for this type of situations because once you're out, you don't know what the hell to do, basically.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Oh, yeah. 100%.
yeah, it's
Totally.
crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, moving on here. Let's say one day Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, you name it. They call you and they tell you that they have this idea which goes that all of the characters you have played at the moment, they're gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. But that film needs a name. So how would you call it?
The combination of well, I have a spectrum of characters. So I would say innocent meets saucy. I play either like the very innocent girl or like the bar slut.
Oh, okay.
The mistress at the bar,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, of course.
those all those chicks meeting these chicks.
Mm,
So maybe innocent meets saucy.
I like it. Okay. It
Or meeting
sounds
them.
it sounds like an HBO one.
Yeah, it can work.
Yeah, it can work. We never know. You never know.
I'll wait for the call.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And let's say if you got the chance to make that film, who would you like to direct it?
Ooh. Well,
Like who?
he's a terrible choice for this, but Robert Redford.
Okay.
Because he's well, okay, no. Judd Apatow. Robert Redford is like he directed A River Runs Through It, which
Mm,
is kind of a funny one for me, but it is my favorite movie. Uh but Judd Apatow, he'd be the right choice.
there you go. All right.
Yeah.
Now, what about if you could describe your whole career, but on a drink? How would you call this drink, and what would it have?
This one I was a little Uh, so this is like my character type, like, or all my character types together, or my career together.
Your career, your whole career
Dis-
since day one.
Okay, distilled into a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. What's that drink with all the stuff in it? What? The hodgepodge of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's really gross. I can't remember. I can't remember what it's called. Well, you know the one with multiple alcohols? What am I thinking? You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember
I
what it's called
think I
now.
do. I think I do. Which one you're talking about? I mean, I do know one, but I did that back in college. That we will mix everything in this huge bottle of water, but we will mix
Yeah,
everything on it, everything. It was
maybe it's like a
horrendous, of course.
sangria then, actually. It's like
Okay,
some kind of sangria with, like, fruit and it's in a punch bowl for sure.
I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, all right. Now, my last question here, like, what motivates you? We all have those days, right? That we just want to quit. I mean, it's inevitable for you to happen, and it doesn't matter what you do, it happens that at some point you want to quit. So how you manage to silence those toxic voices, like those toxic thoughts, and to be back again on this road that you have built for so many years now?
I kinda mentioned it earlier, but a few things. One the number one, honestly, is fun. It is a fun career. It's fun. This is if I am gonna do this, if I'm gonna put myself out there and do this career, right?
Yeah,
I wanna be
yeah,
having fun. It's a good time. And so I kind of try and remind myself of that always. It's like I do this because I like it, you know? And if I get too stressed out or to that place where it's just like it's messing with my mind, then it's not I got to recalibrate. There's definitely, some things I need to look at, and I just remind myself like I do this because it's a good time. You know, the other thing is there is a purpose element of it. I do think I'm meant to be doing this,
yeah.
and I want to give justice to the roles that I play. I know that there are people who will relate. Of the millions and billions of people in the world, somebody's going to watch this character that I play, and they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, that's me." And so there's a purpose element to that where I want to just be as truthful as possible and give justice to their lives.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, and then also just artistic living, I think, is
Yeah,
the big thing. So many of us are just like living in big boxes and driving our boxes to our box work, and I love the art. I love art in general, and it's um it's a good path to stay in that artistic living space where it's like things don't have to be boxes. Humans are complicated, and when you're playing them, you know that even more. When you're living life, you know it even more. And yeah, so those are some of the things that motivate me for sure. Just the complication of the human experience, and
there you go.
trying to give justice to that.
I mean, you're basically dropping the mic here, so.
Yeah.
I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's incredible what you do. You speak truth here. I love it, and I'm super sure that our next conversation next time it's gonna be about the hundreds, upon hundred thousands projects that you have been involved with. Hear me on that. That's gonna happen.
Yeah, all right. I like it. Speak it into existence. That's
Absolutely,
what I'm
absolutely.
saying.
Because like one of the cool things is that you're doing it because you like it. It's fun. It's your passion, and as cliche that it may sound, that do what makes you happy. We all know that it's a pain in the butt because sometimes it can take years for you to discover what you really want to do, what really makes you happy. But the fact that you found it, you're working on it, you're making results, and now also you're also helping new generations to come. I mean, that's incredible. That's awesome. I mean, you're basically showing everyone here that hey, dreams can come true, and here am I. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, things they might look slightly different, but man, they can come true. They can come true. And anything you want, there's this you may have heard it. It's pretty famous, but Jim Carrey talks about his dad and how
Oh yeah.
he failed at what he didn't want to do, right? So you
Mm-hmm,
can fail
mm-hmm.
at what you don't want to do. So you might as well do the thing that you want. And I think the thing that holds us back a lot of times is judgment, just fear of judgment from other people
Yeah.
and putting yourself out there. I'm sure you've experienced that with this show, you're putting yourself out there in the line of fire for judgment. But I think it's super important to remember that everybody feels that fear, and to just move through that, you know? If you're not a victim in your life, you're not a victim to that judgment, you are the hero of your own story. So just move through it and do the thing that you want to do, because I think it's a lot more painful to look back and regret, you know?
That's a perfect way to finish this. I love it.
Well, thank you.
Incredible. Incredible. It's amazing. I mean, also, I want to thank those who watch this. Thank you so much if you are either listening in on Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Music, I think, and Amazon. I mean, thank you so much. If this is your first episode, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. If it is your fifth, sixth one, that's awesome. Keep watching the episode, spread the word. But also, since this one is about to be done, on the description below you will find the social media for Sonya. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna follow her. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Sonya because she's incredible. She's amazing. And Sonya, again, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep inspiring, keep creating because you're definitely doing it. I'm super sure there's hundreds of people out there who sees you as someone who is, besides as a role model, is also showing the world that things can get done. And we need more people like you for sure in this world. And yeah, keep inspiring, keep killing it, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks so much, Dan. You're awesome. Super happy.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.